3 or 4 miles out to sea, 12 men watch the sky descend into darkness and the ocean become violent. Salty foam sloshes into their boat, blinding their vision, and every moment brings a sudden collision. That's when the one who called himself the truth begins stepping on the sea. 3 or 4 miles, moving without concern for how things might turn out, or if his next step may be his final. 3 or 4 miles, walking in the knowing that his destiny is grounded in spiritual redemption, unconcerned that he may be swallowed by savage waters and never live to fulfill it. He does not ask if he really needs to retrieve his men still tossing in the dead of night, if the mission is really necessary. He knows it is. The ocean's brutal sprays hide the night stars at every step, no light to guide the way, easy to get lost. But he feels his present challenge cannot define what he's decided for himself. Is not his end, and so barely notices he's been doing the impossible for 3 or 4 miles. Can you walk among your own raging seas with nothing but the end in mind? The end is your final goal, not its details. Walking in the end requires faith, and faith abides by this single principle. What you feel is what you create. Feel maybe, you get maybe. Your very lack of confidence invites the skepticism and fear that sinks you deeper into self-defeat. That's why maybes can't make the long walk. They turn back too soon. All the steps you may take in the future are just maybes now. Those steps don't even exist yet. Why are you stressed about them? You start a business in fear that maybe you'll have to go back and get a job one day. Maybe people will laugh at you. You hate that you can't keep your mind from visualizing job applications. Desperately, you begin putting out the kind of products that are cheaper to make, but nobody wants. And when things end just like you feared, you tell yourself maybe it just wasn't meant to be. You want to build a community, but you keep thinking, maybe I put in all this work and no one shows up to join. You want to invite people to be with you, but you think maybe they won't choose you. Maybe they'll eventually abandon you. So it's better to not even try. You're not going to solve challenges that don't exist by worrying about them. That's how you create them. So today, you let go of maybe and feelingly step into the end. It may seem like a harebrained scheme you've devised. There probably are variables you haven't considered, but guess what? If it's your highest purpose, then to continue is success. You don't need to have everything figured out, but you do need to keep your mind and feeling focused on the end result you want. Use this kit, this conscious transformation technology. I call it memory inception. Anytime you need to create a solution to a situation, see yourself as having already created the result you want 1,000 times over. Remember yourself winning each time. Memories happen in the first person, which means you are to picture looking out from your own eyes, seeing a new reality as if you already lived it. You'll do that by asking these higher reprogramming questions. What was it like when I overcame this challenge the first time? What about the 82nd time? What about the 506th time? Won't it be the same this time? Feel that you already have a full database of memories in your head of being successful in creating the result you want. Go to them anytime you desire. Notice the new thoughts and ideas that easily show you what you now need to do when you begin to reason from the place of, I've already done this before. The confidence that follows from your new thoughts and feelings will help you accomplish your goals, again, only for the first time. Are you seeing how this works? Spiritual responsibility means taking ownership even over how you remember. And so shift what you feel you are capable of at will. Yes, the truth has a way of finding you even amid hopeless waters. That's why if you have even an inkling that you're willing to persist, to continue, that means faith is here. For the ability to manifest your final result is in you, if you begin with the end. In the beginning, there was infinity, which was the same as eternity, and you were there. Without a body to fear dying, without another to fear ridicule, being everything you had everything. There was nothing to want. Happiness was your essence. For infinity and happiness are the same. But then came belief, not the kind of belief that empowers, but the kind that destroys. He went by the name Lower, and he convinced you that you were just a limited individual in an incalculable cosmos. Lower appeared in two forms, the fear of death and the fear of lack. Lower told you that dying was permanent, and that resources were so scarce, even God was only for the few. In Lower, the truth of infinity and happiness vanished. But what if the seat of infinite happiness was still the core of who you are? And what if you could travel there at will? Go with me now to that place inside you where this entire universe lives. Deep within, where galaxies rotate, where God's mind goes to grow quiet. Go with me now. Happiness begins when the belief in lack and the fear of death ends. Allow its light to burst forth. Because there will come a time when Lower belief will tell you that you're just not meant for it. You ain't got enough time, talent, or practice. Or that other people have something you can never get. They come from better stock. There will come a time when Lower will tell you that it's better to be secure than free. Because you don't have enough people to win. That your higher purpose is a pipe dream maybe you can do and dabble in on the side. There will come a time when Lower will tell you that your vision will take money you don't have unless you go to work for someone else to give you what you need, and that death is a final destination better to arrive safely at. I'm here to ask you, whatever you feel is missing from your life, what if you had it already? If dying makes you nervous, what if you knew you were everlasting? So that even if the body falls away today, you'd be there to watch it drop. And so never lose anything real. Where is your sorrow? Where is your worry when every Lower belief that isn't you fades? Ooh, infinity can never lack. Where would it find it? Can never die. How would it disappear? Infinity is too big for Lower's belief. It swallows the fear of death and demise whole, and Lower drowns in its lips. For the realization of infinity and Lower belief cannot coexist. That's why infinity's always happy. Would you like to become infinite whenever you like? Use this kit, today's conscious transformation technology. Put your attention on the dark behind your eyes. It's as if you're floating in space. Notice that you don't have to try to be aware of the black behind your eyelids. You are simply aware. Remain in this spaciousness. Where are the edges of your awareness? Go there if you can. Where does awareness end for you? Find out now. But isn't it impossible? For everywhere you would look, awareness is required to know what you discover. There is no stepping outside of it. That's why the ancients called it endless. It's everywhere. Consciousness, your core being, is limitless, which means it cannot be benefited nor destroyed by anything you do. You cannot disgrace or betray infinity. You cannot harm or maim infinity. You cannot convince or persuade infinity. You can only be infinity. That is why it is known as happiness. because it completes itself by being itself. Since awareness knows no limits, we must say it includes all things and is therefore one with them. Since awareness has no beginning, we must say it is not bound by time and is therefore timeless. Bodies come and go, but you, awareness, remain. With lower defeated, happiness shines forth as infinity. You can't stand as one without being the other. Every moment you choose to feel happy for no reason. You choose to be boundless, infinite. I need you to answer this question. What is joyful, simple, and obvious for you right now? Now your answer must have all three. Don't make do with two. What you decide to do next can't just be joyful and simple, it also needs to be obvious. Won't work if it's just obvious, it also must be simple to do. This is the new spiritual logic. You are not to do what is based on shoulds or should nots anymore. That old way of doing things from checklists is done. Life is bigger for you now. You can put away the work you did based on fear, based on just trying to keep the lights on, based on familiarity and the fear of the unknown. Put it away. There is a path to choosing joy that exists for you now, and it has all the growth that you need on it. You get the same growth with joy that you would have got on the path of struggle. I know it's not a popular opinion, but it is the truth. How do you find it? Simple. Use this conscious transformation technology. It's a higher reprogramming question. Ask, what action is joyful, simple, and obvious for me right now? That simple question is another way of asking, what can I do that will give me the energy to push past challenges, that's in alignment with my goals and values, and that I have the technical ability to do? If it's joyful, that means you will have the energy to keep going even when challenges appear. If it's obvious, that means there's a need you can satisfy that's in alignment with your goals and values. If it's simple, that means you have the technical ability to accomplish the task. You already know how to do it. When you can answer this one question, you will be flowing in the stream of higher purpose, your life's path. What you are meant to do, higher purpose may at first look selfish. It may look like something that's not going to help people at all. But pursue higher purpose with enough love, and it will help everyone who bears witness and even those that don't. Use this question to make every life decision. I remember when I was finishing my PhD, I saw that the university wasn't really a fit for me anymore. Wouldn't allow me to teach the way I wanted. I was creating studies that nobody was reading. I wanted more. But I had been working on the doctorate for 10 years. How could I just switch it up? I was in this academic conference in Salt Lake City, and while most people were looking for jobs, I was reading about sales. I wanted to start a business and didn't know how. All of my training had been academic. I knew teaching, knew research, but business systems, I had little experience. Trying to figure out just how to make the right decision, my grad school buddy said to me, it's not about making the right decision. It's about making the decision right. He was talking about making the decision based on higher purpose, not comfort. I went into sales. Yeah, there was a joy in learning the skills to build a business and getting paid to do it. It was simple to go get a sales gig, and it was obvious that business experience would be required before I would venture out on my own. I eventually set sales records at that company. Left, started a private investment firm, and I've been running for years. Sometimes what is joyful, simple, and obvious is not about working harder, it's about taking a break. It means returning to quiet and stillness. Abiding in that space of inner freedom, the answers simply appear to you. Maybe it's a phone call or an email that changes your life. It can be a commercial, a slight way somebody looks at you that inspires you to take new action. Maybe you feel like taking a nap. If it's joyful, simple, and obvious, then you should. When you wake up, everything you need for your next best decision will already be available. This is the nature of the universe. This is the nature of consciousness. Others will look to you and ask why you're so damn happy. You'll say it's because you make great choices that fill you with joy. One of the greatest books ever written is called the Tao Te Ching. It means the way of nature. You could think of the Tao as another name for supreme awareness. The Tao Te Ching says the master never reaches for the great, thus they achieve greatness. All it means is that you don't even have to fully know what your higher purpose is. You are the master when you can walk in joy and trust that God, supreme consciousness, is arranging the cosmos to fit your need. You just focus on the step you're on now. It will reveal to you everything else you need. Everything else that must come later arrives at the time that you need it, including insights and ideas. But you must have the courage to do that which is joyful, simple, and obvious right now. Do that enough and you'll find that your life is filled with more things that are joyful, that are more obvious, that are more simple. And the more you do it, guess what? It gets even simpler. Because as you improve, you're able to serve at a higher level. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Higher purpose is doing the small thing until it's a big thing. Higher purpose is the very stream of heavenly energy that moves all beings toward higher growth. This species, Homo sapiens sapien, the species will evolve when enough people are acting from higher purpose. And the way you know is when your every action is joyful, simple, and obvious. The next time you're beating yourself up after a mistake, I dare you to think about this question. Who is the you that doesn't get wet when it rains? I'm talking about the inside you that feels the water patter on the skin but remains untouched by it. Will your consciousness dampen after a rain shower? I know the hair does, skin does, clothes too, but what about your very awareness? Find out. Notice the power in you that sees from eyes but never blinks, watches thoughts but doesn't think, perceives the senses but is not bound by them. Does this inner you make mistakes? You must know. Inner you is awareness itself, the fabric of deep reality. It is the glorious I am that shines within you. But tiny you is basically a person with a bunch of problems that feels far from God. See, you only beat yourself up when you've got a case of mistaken identity. Instead of the inner you, you listen to the tiny you. And the reason you listen to tiny you is because of the belief that if you can just create enough pain for yourself right now, then maybe you won't repeat the same mistake again. Maybe if you beat yourself up now, you won't have to do it again later. But that's not how it works, is it? For once you start calling yourself names, judging yourself, making yourself wrong, making yourself a problem, you set up the belief that negative self-talk is justified if it creates enough pain to make you stop making errors, so you can improve. There's only one problem with that. You've just made it okay to emotionally assault yourself when you make a mistake. You've now built a pattern of negative self-judgment that activates when things don't go the way you want. The mistake ain't worth all that. A mistake is just a situation that didn't go the way you believed it should. It's a belief. It's a belief. But watch this. The inner you doesn't have beliefs about how things should or shouldn't be, and so never grows disappointed by past efforts. Doesn't doubt itself for the future. It simply keeps showing up forever. I'd like to invite you to your inner self, to go neutral to the past. I'm here to let you know, you don't need pain to correct a problem. Awareness will do. You don't need to beat yourself up to ensure you never make a mistake. Awareness will do. You don't need to berate yourself for making the same mistake 2 or 3 times. Awareness will do. Awareness is how you'll correct the issue anyway. Skip the extra steps and do it now. I know what you're thinking. It's only through pain and struggle that you can grow. But what feels more potent? Beating yourself up to motivate yourself, or choosing to move with clarity, correct the misstep, and go forward? Tiny you will always choose the more complicated, painful option. Only the inner you gives you the space required to see the situation for what it really is. To access the inner you, we'll use conscious transformation technologies. The kits I have for you today require you to return to your root, to that inner you that is always already itself. This kit is called Identify as Awareness. Let's begin. Close your eyes and know that all you are is awareness. You do not have a body. You are aware of the body. You do not have memories. You are aware of memories. You do do not have thoughts. You are aware of thoughts. You do not have emotions. You are aware of emotions. You do not have feelings. You are aware of feelings. Feel yourself as only pure awareness. When you are ready, become aware of thought itself. Simply notice thought's presence. See that no matter what the thought is, be it of yesterday or tomorrow, of joy or non-joy, thought is thought, but you are awareness. And no thought can touch you. Become aware of the body, starting with the feet and moving up through the legs to the hips. Notice the belly, shoulders, neck. Simply notice the body. See that no matter how the body changes from yesterday to tomorrow, from rest to movement, the body is just a body. But you are awareness, and no body disturbs you. Look around your environment. Become aware of all that eyes can see. Notice the objects in the room. See that no matter how much the objects in the environment change, from yesterday to tomorrow, from 2020 to blindness, objects are just objects, but you are awareness. Objects change, you do not. Remain as the awareness that never changes. This is the inner you. When you can identify as the inner you alone, you see that what you called a mistake was just a belief misunderstood. You see that every situation can be useful for living life the way you want at the highest level. Notice that the tiny you, all your doubts and limiting beliefs, can keep throwing tantrums all day long. It can build up all the stress it wants to. But the inner you just watches all the pouting, the back and forth, the mental bickering, then watches as silence falls and every tantrum peters out. This is the peace that passeth all understanding. When negative self-talk creeps in to call you worthless, which you is talking? Is it the tiny you that believes it needs to correct itself through pain? Or the inner you that remains untouched by the rain? Hey, it's Dr. Shawn Smith, and if that message resonated with you, then be sure to watch this video. I know it will serve you.